ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It's time for What Do You Call It? Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of What Do You Call It? Podcast. I'm your host, GB, and today's guest has spent 7 years in the NFL. He's currently one of the most explosive wrestlers in the world. He's Mr. Impact Wrestling. Please give it up for Moose. How you doing today, sir? You all right?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty good, mate. Not too bad. Glad to have you on the show today because I know you don't do a lot of interviews, so this should be good. One thing I want to point out is the chants, Moose, Moose, Moose. I absolutely love it. I just want to know quickly, how did you come up with the chant and the entrance?
The entrance that I have right now is something I didn't come up with myself. It was me and a couple of guys and production guys that we put our heads together. We came up with something that I thought that would make me look like a star. But the chant is something I got from a teammate of mine in that NFL when I was playing, and when he used to do it all the time, and I just put it in my back pocket as something I was going to do or try to do and see if it will catch on when I get into professional wrestling.
Yeah, it certainly calls on. Even the shows down here, when the ref does the count, 1, Moose. So yeah, it's definitely calls on. I want to know, where did the name Moose come from?
I cannot hear you. I can't hear. Can you repeat that question?
Yeah, of course, no problem. I was just asking, where did the name Moose come from?
Oh, it was a name that was given to me by a teammate of mine my rookie year in the NFL.
Oh, okay. Was there any specific reason for it, or just a random name? It's just a really cool name. No, that's why I just wanted to know.
Oh, I guess it was a guy that played for the same team I played for way before I got there. That was his nickname, and they thought I looked like him. So one of my teammates gave me the name, and it just stuck with me.
No, that's cool, mate. One thing I have to praise you for in wrestling is your spear. I love the way that you deliver it. It's awesome. I just want to know, did you get that from your football days? It's just that spin you do as well. It's awesome.
No, I actually got that from playing a video game.
All right.
So there was a time, I don't even know if they still do it, where there was a time in Madden where if you flicked, maybe it was like Madden 2008 or something, when if you flicked the joystick, it made the defender hit you much harder than you did. I remember a time I was watching one of my buddies play it, and they flicked it, and it was called a hit stick. And I don't know if it was a glitch or whatever it was, but when he did it, the guy did a flip with it. And I was like, man, that would be a cool wrestling move. And this was in 2008. So I remember when I started training for football, I was like, let me try that move that I saw in a video game years prior and see if it's even a thing that you could do. And I tried it, and I actually hit it a couple of times. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna start using this as a finisher move.
No, it's really cool, man. I just love the spin. It just looks great every time you hit it. And just before I do want to talk, basically go back to the beginning and ask what got you into wrestling and what inspired you to become a wrestler. I want to know, what theme song do you prefer? Do you prefer your current one, which has that sort of final boss feeling to it, or do you prefer the Moose Nation theme, which had the fans chanting?
I like both of them, honestly. I think they're both great. I think the one I have now makes me more like I'll say makes me look more like a star, and it's almost like you said, a final boss kind of character, where my old music was more for the fans. It was like more of a baby face type music where you already had the fans chanting your name. And before you even came out there, so would I ever go back to my old music? And if I ever go back to being a good guy like I used to be the first 6 years of my professional wrestling career. So
Yeah, cool, mate. Cool. I know you played a good couple of
yeah,
years
but
in
yeah,
the. Oh,
I
sorry.
love both music.
No, you did. You've done
No,
really
I said
well
I
with the
love
theme songs.
both
Yeah,
music. Yeah.
I was going to say because I know you've done a couple of years in the NFL, but I know you've also said in other interviews that you don't really like talking about American football. That's great for me because I don't have a clue about American football, but I'm a big fan of you as a pro wrestler, and that's what you've said before. Like you want to be established as a wrestler and identified as that. So I want to know, what was your first memory of wrestling growing up?
My first memory of wrestling was the actual first thing that got me into watching wrestling was in '92 Royal Rumble.
Nice.
I didn't. I'll be honest. Before when I started watching wrestling, until I had to like go online and find past matches before that, I really didn't know anything about professional wrestling. The first time I ever watched wrestling was in 1992 Royal Rumble, and that's what got me hooked. And obviously, as you practice to become a wrestler, you need to learn about the history. So I had to go find old DVDs and older DVDs to watch stuff that happened prior to the 1992 Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that's a wicked match. Love it. Really good match. Did you have any favorites growing up as well?
Yeah, guys like Ric Flair, Razor Ramon, Triple H. I mean, I could sit here and name guys forever. I mean, I'm just a big wrestling fan. So there's somebody I like, and there's something I like in every wrestler you mentioned.
Yeah, no, they are top tier talent and some of my favorites as well. But we're not here to talk about me, here to talk about you. One thing I'd like to ask as well, because you were trained by wrestling legend Mr. Hughes, how was he as a coach?
Mr. Hughes, the thing about it, I tell people that Mr. Hughes showed me how to do wrestling moves and do wrestling holds, but the guy who really taught me to be a wrestler and taught me the more important things about professional wrestling, I would say it has to be Scott D'Amore.
Okay.
And but yeah, like when I answer that question, guys like Hughes just showed me, oh, this is how you do a headlock. This is how you run the ropes. This is how you do a body slam. This is how you do this. But if you're talking about like what it takes to being a wrestler and like what psychology is and like what makes sense and what don't make sense, I would have to go with Scott D'Amore. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Scott D'Amore and Team Canada. So I really enjoyed those days in TNA. I sort of skipped ahead a little bit, but it's not necessarily a football question, but because you spent 7 years in the NFL and you made the transition from football to pro wrestling, I just want to ask, what inspired you to sort of make that decision and quit American football and pursue wrestling full time?
American football is not something that I wanted to do. It's just something that I luckily was good at. So it was an easy decision to not do it anymore, and because of how much I was getting paid, it was easy to do it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get that. You was good at your job, but you know, if you're getting paid for it, you know, might as well continue it for a bit. I completely understand that. You did a couple of WWE tryouts and training camps. I just want to know, how were they for you to experience?
That was a good learning experience. It is what it is. It was kind of like, it was different. I would never do anything like that anymore in my career because I don't feel like I need to.
Yeah.
But doing it was a good learning experience. I mean, I would suggest if some people have the opportunity to go do a WWE, they should definitely do it just to see how determined they are and how strong their willpower is and how conditioned they are, because there's a lot of conditioning that has to that goes with doing it.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's sort of that boot camp vibe, but it's not for everyone. And also, if you've got the experience, sort of why do you have to sort of prove yourself? But I get that. You made your way to Ring of Honor, where you would have a memorable run during one of their hottest periods. You had an undefeated streak. You wrestled against the likes of Roderick Strong, the Briscoes, and the Bullet Club. I just want to ask you, what were some of your favorite moments in Ring of Honor?
I feel like everything I did in Ring of Honor was a great experience. Ring of Honor taught me so much about what wrestling, especially in the ring, is all about. And I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at if I didn't go through and experience Ring of Honor. And it's just one of those things that, like, me and my friend were just talking about it the other day, that we wrestled at Ring of Honor when it was the hottest ever. Like, look at all the talent I was wrestling with when I was in Ring of Honor. Guys who've made a name for themselves in WWE, or like who is making a lot of money now. But those were guys who I shared a locker room in Ring of Honor. It's probably one of the, if not the hottest roster of that Ring of Honor ever had during that 3-year span I was there.
Yeah, that's was my first exposure to you, and I sort of gravitated towards you. Like, you were so agile for quite, you're 6'7", like quite a big guy, but you was able to also sort of fly across the ring, but do power moves and brawl, and just you had a unique style, and I think that's why the fans sort of got behind you. And it really worked. It was good. So, is Impact Wrestling the place that you would call home in terms of your wrestling career?
There's a place I would call home as of right now. I love Ring of Honor. I love Impact Wrestling. I'm sorry. It's a place I call home for right now. I love Impact Wrestling. And I know when people say Impact Wrestling, I'm one of the names that they think about, because I've done a good job with carrying the brand and bleeding the Impact. But nothing lasts forever, there's going to come a point where I decided to go venture something else and check everything out, check somewhere else out. But but we'll see what happens when that time comes. But as of now, I love Impact Wrestling. I love Scott D'Amore. I love all the guys being in the back. I love the roster. We're like a family, and I think we have the best product out there on television right now.
It gives people that option as well, especially in the pandemic, where there wasn't so much wrestling, but Impact Wrestling was still around, and gave people something else to watch if WWE wasn't their thing, or AEW. You were the longest reigning Impact Grand Champion, and you really established the championship as your own belt. I just want to know, what did it mean to you, and what was it like for you to sort of wrestle against top tier talent like EC3, Cody Rhodes, and Drew McIntyre?
Apart from the title, because obviously the title is not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Wrestling those guys are great, man. You learn a lot from wrestling guys as good as those guys, and hopefully down the road, I get a chance to wrestle those guys again. We'll see what happens, but all three guys are amazing talents, and it's funny that all three guys are working on all different companies. So, all four of us are working for every single major company in the United States. So, we'll see what happens. Wrestling is like a revolving door, and it keeps spinning, and you eventually see that same guy at some point in your career. So that's what I hope happens with Drew and EC3 and Cody. At some point, I get to wrestle them again.
Now, wicked, man. I hope to see those rematches, because I really enjoyed your work as the champion as well. I want to ask, how have you felt about the Impact Wrestling and AEW relationship? Has it not phased you, or has it sort of given you a little bit more sort of motivation, or just want to know how you feel about it?
Right now it seems like it's going well. I think it's a good thing, to major companies working with each other. I just, my personal opinion, I wish that it was more because right now it just seems like AEW is just using one talent and Impact is just using one talent. I wish it was more talent exchange and storylines with multiple talents as such. Well, I mean, you like at the end of the day, I don't know where this thing is going, and I don't think anybody but the two owners of the companies know where this is going. So it's possible it might be something we see down the road, but we just haven't gotten there yet. But we'll see. I mean, it's so far so good. I mean, I've gotten to wrestle up at Daly's place, and
you and Kenny
it's a great
tore up, man.
atmosphere.
Really good match that was.
It's a great atmosphere, and I can't wait to see what the outcome of this relationship is. I'm sure it's going to be great, but it's just everybody has to have patience and see where it goes.
Yeah, good answer, mate. One thing as well I want to ask, because I really enjoyed the feud with Ken Shamrock, and also I kind of feel like you became like a new legend killer with like Tommy Dreamer, RVD, Rhino, and Ken Shamrock. And you growing up as a wrestling fan, I just want to know what was that like for you to sort of wrestle these legends, especially Ken Shamrock. I mean, obviously the match Bound for Glory and the build up was just fucking awesome. Just want to know what's the experience like for you to wrestle the legends.
It's always great when you wrestle some guys that you've been watching on TV as a kid, you know. So it's always great. And it was something that we was doing with, at one point of my run and Impact was where I was just challenging different legends and different ECW guys and different guys who've held the TNA World Championship as a approval point. But yeah, man, it's always a learning experience when you get into the ring with somebody as old as those guys who've been through it all, literally been through anything you could come across in wrestling. So and all those guys I wrestled are great guys, man, because you meet some guys who like to hold on information, and those guys are not at all there. Or they like to tell you about their experience and tell you how you could learn from their experience. So I love those guys. Those guys are great. And Ken Shamrock is awesome, man. We had a good match at Bound for Glory, and I know he's retired now, and he's working on the Spear and Knuckle fighting organization. So good luck to him with that. And yeah.
That was great, mate. Considering he's like nearly 60, I mean, you two just tore it up, in my opinion. I just loved it. One thing to sort of wrap the interview up is, I know, unfortunately, you were unsuccessful against Kenny Omega, but besides a rematch, which I'm sure is going to happen, is there anyone in AEW that you'd like to wrestle against? I would say Impact, but I feel like with AEW, there might be more people that you've not worked with yet.
Oh, can you repeat that question? Your the connection is not so great.
Yeah, of course, no problem. So I was just asking, as you were unsuccessful against Kenny Omega due to interference, even though the match was awesome, besides a rematch, which I'm sure is going to happen in the future, I just want to ask you, is there anyone at the moment in AEW that you would like to wrestle against? Do you want me to ask the question again?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I can hear you now. Do you want me to ask that question again?
Yeah, the connection. I mean, I heard most of it. I'm just making sure you can hear me.
Yeah, no, I can hear you. Yeah, that's fine, mate.
So the way I work is, my my title opportunity with Kenny Omega didn't work out as planned. Obviously, everybody know why. I got screwed. And I am planning on getting a rematch, but the problem is, I like to concentrate on what's in front of me right at that certain time.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go into this rematch and be worried about what is Chris Sabin doing, because Chris Sabin got in my business, obviously, if you've been watching the product. So I feel like I need to handle the Chris Sabin situation. And once that is all handled, I could go back to getting my rematch against Kenny Omega or whoever has the Impact World Championship. Because my problem is not technically with Kenny Omega. My problem is whoever has the Impact World Championship on them. And, you know, Kenny and Sammy are main event and Slammiversary for the title. So if Sammy wins, then I guess I have to take out my issue of me being screwed on Sammy Callahan. But as of right now, my main focus is on Chris Sabin. And once I'm done dealing with Chris Sabin, then I will go back to hunting what's mine.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Last question. I was going to ask quite a boring question. What's your favorite match? But I'd like to ask, what do you like to do when you're not wrestling in your spare time?
I work out a lot. I'm always in the gym. I play video games. I take care of my animals, hang out with my wife. Pretty much what I do every day. It's literally just goes my daily schedule.
That's cool, mate. I think it may have cut off, but I just want to ask one of the questions previously, and then I will wrap the interview up completely. The question was, I think because it was cutting off, unfortunately, but it was, which theme song do you prefer of yours? And is it your current theme song, which I said was the Final Boss theme song, or is it the Moose Nation? I know that I did hear some of it, but it did cut off then, just in case the listeners wanted to hear the question, and then that'll be it.
I like both music, so I can't sit here and tell you which one I like better. They both give me two different feels. The music I have now, like you say, gives me like a final boss in a video game kind of vibe, and my old music is more like a babyface vibe where it gets the whole crowd rocking and excited to see you come out before you actually even step out. So I like both of them equally, and there's a chance you might get to see me come out to my old theme songs depending on what happens down the road. So
no, awesome, mate. So where can fans find you on social media?
Instagram is Moose Nation 69 and Twitter is the Moose Nation.
Awesome, mate. So I want to thank you for coming on today. As I said at the beginning, I know you don't do a lot of interviews, but you can come on to What You Call It podcast, and it means a lot. So it's great. For everyone that's listened to this episode, there'll be more of this podcast coming up very soon. But for now, I hope everyone stays safe. And now, here is a word from my sponsors.